this is actually going to be a quick one because if you watch yesterday's video, this is what we actually did, right? But today we are going to be doing something more interesting and different. Yesterday we have to use this get route to actually be getting the fruits we stored here using the post route. We get it and show it out at the web browser here, right? But today we are not going to be showing it on the web browser. I want us to get it through this command and also show it through this command. And we're not going to just be showing it. Yesterday we are going to, once we show everything at once, right? But now I don't want us to be showing everything at once. I want it to be like you store something inside an array and you can actually go there to pick only one by calling the index the way you store it. You store it 1, 2, 3. You just go and call the number 1, number 2, and computer numbers start from actually 0. Yeah, computer does not understand 1 as 1. It understands 0 as 1 and 1 as 2. You get? Okay, so now let's quick onto that. Let's start with the get function at app.get, right? So let's just let's define a function. Let's call the function get fruits. Let's just define the function for now, and let's just return the function. And yeah, that's the structure. But now what are we going to be doing? I told you we are going to be getting it by the ID. So where are we getting the ID from is from the route fruits, and from that route fruit we are going to be getting the fruit ID. I'm just naming it that. You can name it something else. So but I'll name it fruit ID. And here what are we going to be entering here? We are going to be entering the fruit ID to get the fruit. You understand? And it's going to be an int, right? ID 0, 1, 2, 3 is an int. But the int has to give us what? An output of string. So sorry, yeah, string. So now what we are going to be doing is if it's get the ID, it should return what? It should return the fruit ID, right? Yep. So that's all. And right now we can see if we save, let's use the call command to actually save. Now today I'll be cutting it short since we are not dealing with code that involves JSON, right? This code actually didn't involve JSON currently, so I'll just keep the part of where I specify the content type and just go into the HTTP. Okay, if you watch yesterday's video, sorry, the previous video, you know what I'm saying. 127.0.0.1 and the port is 8000, right? Okay, and fruits, right? And what am I entering? I'm entering a fruit called, sorry, apple. Method not allowed. Then there's something I'm not putting right. Curl.exe post http 127.0.0.18000/fruits equal to apple. Why is it saying method not allowed? Curl.exe x post http, yeah, 127.0.0.1 8000, right? Then fruits. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry about that. Fruits, fruit, and apple. Okay, so now let's enter the second one. Fruits, fruits, orange. So for a quick one, let's just leave that to, you can see now the array is having all items is apple and orange. So now let's get the item here without going to the other side, and let's get it one after the other. Let's get the first item we put, which is the apple, right? So now I'll be using the get function. So I'll just come onto this side and change this post to what? To get. So, and here I'll be cleaning all this side up to this extent and just writing the index. Why? Because here we define it here as the route is fruits, and after the route we'll be implementing the what? The index. We'll be writing the index. So here now the route is here, the next thing is the index. So once you click on it now, it get the first item for you, right? So now let's use this to get the second item too. Here now, if I write it this way, one, I told you second item is one, and it's going to get orange for me. So let's use it now to get another item. Let's see. It's showing internal server error, but that's not the right error. It's supposed to be popping up. It's supposed to tell us it's not there. Like there is no third item. Instead of telling us there's no item for that index, instead of telling us internal server error. So let's implement it in the code. So at every time it doesn't tell us server error, it actually tells us what the problem is. You get, let it tell us that it has exceed what is inside the array here, because we just put only two items, right? So let's mend our code a little. So let us be like if sorry, let's use if statement. You can actually do it in several ways, up to 3 ways, but I'll just show you 2 ways. First of all, let me use if the fruit, if the fruit is less than the fruit id, sorry, if the fruit id is less than the length, sorry, the length of the fruit, right? Let it return this. Otherwise, let it raise an error. You understand? Let it raise an error. What error is it going to be raising? Let it raise an HTTP. Okay, and you have not import HTTP on this code. Before you use HTTP response error, you will have to import it here. So let's import HTTP exception. So this HTTP exception now is for it to actually raise an error. So HTTP exception will now show here now, and you can now be like the error of status, right? You can see the error here, status code. The status code is 404, which is not found. And let's actually say the item, there is no item for, let's structure the detail popping up. Let like there is no item for that index. So we'll just call the index here, which is what index of that particular fruit, for that fruit that you entered. Let's put the f function here so it can format it for us. Okay, so okay, all right, so now let's try to get what is not on the array. Now let's see what is going to say. Still saying server error. Okay, I think here is supposed to be fruit id, because that's what is going to be entered into the, like I'm entering 2 here, which is the id of the fruit, right? So you see now the detail is now bringing, now it's telling me that there is no, there is no sorry, let me write it up. You can see now detail, there is no item for 2. You understand? For that id 2 you entered, I can actually, for index, okay, let's do it that way. So now when I, so now it's telling me detail, there is no item for index 2. It's no longer giving me server error. Now it's throwing an error. Instead of giving me server error, it's throwing a particular error. Then I actually know what is wrong, why the code is not running. is because the array, the item I store in the array has exceed. You get, but I told you that I can actually do you can actually do this thing in two ways. So you can actually use the try format and just be like, first of all, it should try to return the fruit ID. It should try to return the fruit ID at first, and except, sorry, except there is an index error, except there is an index error, and if there is an index error, it should raise the HTTP exception, which is the status code dish 404, right? I wouldn't have cleaned the other one, but I have. Then detail should be there is no item for index, then the fruit ID, right? Then put the function here so it can actually format it well. Then you see the same thing now is still giving me the same details. There is no item for index 2. You understand? So you can actually do it this way. You can use this try, or you can use that if style. You can use the either the if and else, or you can use the try to actually throw this error here. So now imagine now you want to, you know, actually be able to like get a particular item. Like there are 10 items on the list and I want you to get 3 for me. You get, so there is what we can do again for it to get it that way instead of throwing an error here. So what we'll do is it won't be getting fruit ID, it will be getting only fruit here. You get, to be getting only the fruit, and here is going to be, let's say, fruits. No, instead of, what are we going to be entering here? I'll be instead of fruit, I'll be entering a limit. Let me call it limit. And this limit, let us be like at default, sorry, at default, the limit is an int which is equal to 10. That means at default, let it just give me, okay, let's say 5. I'll put 5 items to the array. So it should give me the 5 altogether at default. If it's not at default, let it return instead of fruit ID, let it return um let it return from the beginning all through the limit. That's, I told you I'm going to be putting a limit. That's, it should return the particular limit that I put in. Okay. So now let's say I post this command here now. This fruit now, I'll now put it to be like limit equal to 3. Okay, now it will, sorry, see now it's showing an error. Why? Because I have not actually put anything inside the array. Okay, so let me put something into the array.